So, hello and welcome. I'm so excited to be here. This is Erica Glessing, and we're going to have a Having Ease with Money party.
Yay!
How does it get any better? So, Becky Hurt is joining us from the lovely, beautiful town of Sausalito, where I was born. So, hi, Becky.
Woohoo! Hi! Fabulous here.
Yeah. And Goja, where are you joining us from in the world, Goja?
I'm in Aliso Viejo, Orange County, California.
Nice. And Christine, welcome.
Hi, everyone.
So when I'm not interviewing you, you can mute yourself if you like. You don't have to, and you may. And then we're just going to roll with it and start having some fun. So Goja, really, I think what drew you to this book was our first iteration was kind of the power of having money. It was sort of the energy of having money and how elusive that is. So maybe just let's jump right in with like a tool or some way we can help someone who's just kind of like, how can I have ease with having it?
Yeah, so at first, when you invited me, I was absolutely blown away. And my first thought was like, but I don't have so much money. There's so many people that have more money than me. Why me? And it's like, yo, the book is desiring you. The book is asking for you. It's impossible not to. Why me? And we had this long conversation.
I remember that.
Of course, this is where I judge myself the most, right? A humanoid as I am. And we just got to this place of, wow, I realized how much I have created in my life, how much I actually made, how much I generated, and how much have shown up in my life without money as well. So this is where actually I gravitated in my chapter that I wrote about the acknowledgement or lack thereof of how much we actually create as this magnificent, beautiful, amazing creators that we are, that we don't acknowledge. Like, we just don't. We take it for granted. Oh yeah, somebody invited me. Oh yeah, I found myself in this beautiful place. Oh, it just I don't know, just happened. And I never acknowledged it before, to the moment when I was writing the chapters, like, oh my God, I created such an amazing life, living in 7 countries and most beautiful spots. And being paid for most of it while I was living there.
Oh
while
my gosh.
Coming to all those places, paying so much money to be there. I just lived there. And with so much joy and so much ease and no strings attached. Everything was just free.
Wow.
And amazing. So
right?
thank you, Erica, and thank you, book, for choosing me, because I probably would never see it.
One of the things that I love that you bring to the book is this kind of like generations coming from a different country, growing up in a place where, you really weren't supposed to have a lot. Like, you just weren't, that wasn't really okay, right? It's like, and then you wanted it all. So tell us kind of that shift from kind of that growing up in a place, and tell us like where you grew up and just a little bit about that. That's such a fascinating story.
Thank you. So I was born in communistic Poland, and nobody had much. We kind of all grew up with the same, which now I see how little it was, but it was so when I tell my American husband that for Christmas I would get a pair of socks or maybe a pen or a little baggie of candy, he laughs at me. I was like, what? It's not normal? I was like, no. And of course, I would be given the gift like weeks before Christmas, or whatever my mom would buy for like the weeks before Christmas would be, that's your Christmas present, the slippers is Christmas present.
Tell us a little, the candy wrappers.
Oh yes, was chocolate. I was collecting the chocolate wrappers from West Germany, because my friend had grandpa in West Germany and he would send her chocolates. I never got to eat the chocolates. I could smell the wrappers. And because we didn't have chocolate like for every day, enjoyment.
Yeah.
Maybe Christmas they will have them in the store once.
Yeah.
So it was my like dreaming about this beautiful, colorful world that was so far away, even though it was like 100 miles away. But it seemed like it was so far away and so untouchable. But this where my dream started, to live in this world, faraway world that is so colorful and beautiful and enticing. And I just stuck with this dream of being somewhere else. And to this day, I have this kind of tendency of looking always somewhere else. Everywhere else is, the grass is greener and it's more beautiful and more, it's this like, there is always more available. There's always more possible. There's always more to be had. And this kind of shaped me up, always look for more and never be satisfied, kind of like, and it drove me forward. But now I made a conscious effort to actually acknowledge what I created. I acknowledge what I have, acknowledge what I am, and always ask for more. So there's not only this longing for something more, but it's also the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Gratitude for me and what I created and the universe, that and everyone who made it possible for me. So anything is possible, guys. If I could make it, you can make it. Everybody can make it. It's possible.
Yeah, tell me, let's just go into that, and then we have to jump over and get some of the wisdom from Becky, and then Christine, you're up after Becky. And Gosia, if you could just share with people like maybe one idea or one thing that you felt kind of like loosened the place where you couldn't have, like where, like just something that maybe an aha moment or just something that kind of like helped you accept this heaviness that you now are okay with.
Well, I must say that the tools of Access Consciousness really tremendously helped me. And I realized how much I was actually putting myself in this victim mode when I was younger. I was this poor girl from Poland, and I, if you have more money, you need to, pay for my, meal or something. So it wasn't very pretty, actually. I acknowledge it now. It was like, of course, I need to, because you have more. So
you must have more than me.
And you have to share it with me, because that's the idea of the communists, right? You have to equalize. So if you have more, you have to. And I never questioned it. So now I was like, oh my goodness. So this actually put me into this place of generosity of spirit and being able to gift more to people and share and pay for someone and invite someone.
Nice.
Always encourage someone and give them tools, because without these tools I might have been still stuck and not see as much as I see now and perceive as I perceive now. So I'm really grateful. And like, what if what you've been judging yourself for as your greatest weakness could be your greatest strength? And what if you twist it and change that from that's a wrongness of mine. What if it was a strongness of yours? And I judge myself always around money, and now I see how brilliant I was, and I know there's so much more to create, so much more to be had. But what if there's like, if we got out of the judgment and created from the space of possibility, what's possible now? What can I create out? What can I ask for? What can I ask for that I haven't asked before?
Nice.
Sometimes we ask like through the filters of our reality. So if I had this much, maybe I ask for this much. That wouldn't be too greedy, and I can actually make it. If you ask for like, oh my gosh,
right.
limit. Like
I do that with my business. I'll say, okay, what would like 10% more look like? Like, we don't have, and then, because my 1 year I 10 times it, and then I was like, oh, that was really fun.
I like the 10%
Yeah.
more. What if you like double and triple, then what would it take to double?
Yeah.
Income in, by the end of the year, if you don't want to go too crazy, or maybe you want to go totally crazy and see what shows up, and always follow the lightness, always follow the knowing. If you follow the lightness, your life will be so much easier and so much more joyful, rather than coming from the mind and trying to figure it out and fit into this reality. Just follow, like, if I choose this, what will it create? If I choose this, what will it create? And follow what is lighter. I really do it now with everything. I don't
that's beautiful.
Looking at that, and it's so much easier. Oh my goodness, so much easier. Do I go to this event? Oh, I don't. Oh, actually, I don't. Oh, do I go? Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then I meet the most incredible people and most incredible possibilities open up. And always ask, if I do this, will it make me money? You know, and follow the lightness of receiving money, having money. It was like, what else is possible?
Oh, Gosha, thank you so much. So Gosha's chapter is in this book. You can see her beautiful picture on the back. You can sort of see it right there. And we're going to follow the light to Sausalito now. So Becky's going to like unmute herself.
So
And then
much.
Christine, you're up right after that. And thank you, Gosha. Mwah, and have a great class tonight. I know you're about to go teach. You're awesome. And this will all be available tomorrow or later tonight for the book launch. So yay!
Wow, and thank you for that like huge hit of energy, Gosha. I can feel it from here. Yay!
Awesome. So welcome, Becky.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So Becky wrote in her chapter something kind of, fun and a little bit teasing. So it was like, be willing to give it all away to get it back. No, something like that. What was it?
being willing to lose it all to have it all.
Yeah. So what did you mean by that?
It was a wedgie of a lifetime for me when I first heard it, and it was just about losing the energetic angst or attachment over money, right? So the way I would hold it so tight and be afraid to lose it when I'm in that kind of energy and that kind of resistance and that kind of wonkiness with the energy of money, nothing can come in either, right? So I had to, when I first heard that, I thought Gary Douglas was crazy. So he has a deal where if you think he's crazy and later find out he's not, you owe him $1. So I owe him $1 or maybe $2. But when I first heard it, I just could not wrap my head around it because I didn't want to lose everything. That was just not fun for me. And the more I kind of tapped into the energy of that, the more I realized what he was talking about really was just being willing to let it flow, to have it, to not have it, to not have a point of view about it, to not have an attachment to it. And when I could get to that place of no point of view about what it meant to have it, what it meant not to, it just created so much space and so much ease.
So I'm just going to bust you right here on public television. No.
Go for it.
So you live a beautiful lifestyle. So you travel you stay at the diamond level places, you fly in the you do things kind of at this calibration of level. So tell me a little bit about kind of because I know you also came from a crazy background with the church and all the drama there. Tell me a little bit about what it was like to start shifting into that sort of first class lifestyle that you embodied.
Oh, wow. That was, there was a lot of time where when I first started traveling that way and I was connected with a company at that time, and there was just a lot of wrongness. There was a lot of not deserving it. There was a lot of, what I could do with that money to help somebody else, and, the love of money and what that meant about my spirituality, and just like a whole litany, a whole litany of things would come up into my mind. And at the same time, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I love being spoiled when I travel. I love being put in the nicest room in the hotel. I love the first class seats on airlines, and I love not having to wait in line at security at the airport. I love being whisked past all that, right? And it's so fun, right? It's just like, wow, that's me. That, right? I'm all about that. And there was all this stuff in the background that kind of triggered a lot of wrongness in me. Mm-hmm. About that, especially about the fact that I liked it, right? It was one thing to like be that and to travel that way. It was another thing to kind of like it. And so it created some wonkiness in my world.
So we have to bump to the next person in just a minute or two. And so if you could just share with our audience and our listeners, maybe just like one key moment or one key aha, like what's popping in your head right now. And I can sort of feel the audience getting excited because this is going to be a rockin' webinar. Like, can't you just feel the energy of it? It's so awesome.
It is. It builds and builds.
Christine's going to be up. It's just like, oh my gosh. And we have Adam's helping her. It's so exciting.
You can feel the energy, right?
No, the horses are behind him.
Yay! I'll take your word for that because all I can see is sunshine.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, the horses like really good food. And
well, there you go.
for horses is not cheap, and so you might as well just own that you need to do it right. So go ahead, Becky, and just share with us like something that shows up for you that our audience might find helpful.
Just that, I was struck when we first started talking about this book about how many things that I had read about money and about opulence and about prosperity were all written by people who had lots of money. And the magic for me is not having a point of view about whether I have it or not. I've had it, I've had lots, I've had not much, I've been everywhere in between. And the magic of that is when you can get to the point where you're just totally at ease with all of it. And that, right? So that is where the ease of money comes from. I was making it about cash and about bank balances. Money is energy. And when you can become the energy of that, the kind of stuff like you see behind me is just just another day in paradise. And so I would just really encourage people to not go to the place of whether you have it or not being the determining factor about whether you can be at ease with it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Mwah.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for stopping on your journey today. I love it.
Yeah.
I love where you chose. Say hi to
Awesome.
Sarita for me.
I will. And it chose me because I was driving and I was later than I thought. I was like, where is it? And I was like, boom. So for everybody on the webinar, soak in the energy of this amazing place, right?
And help me out, guys. Christine, were you up next? Or Linda, were you up next? Christine? Are you up next?
I think so.
Okay. And then does that work for you, Linda? Okay, cool. So welcome, Christine DiDomenico. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, great to be here.
I love there's a chalkboard behind you that has such authenticity. How many years did you teach?
I taught for 32 years. It's actually not a chalkboard, but it looks like one, doesn't it?
Is it art? I'm sorry. It's art that looks like a chalkboard a little bit.
That's very
How much
funny.
fun can we have? So I want to just open by welcoming you. And this is the book that we all created together. And such beautiful energies here right now. I'm just feeling super touched and blessed. And I'm going to find your chapter. And it's one of those odd days in California. Like it's been really chilly and cool, and today it's like 95 in my house. But the AC is trying really hard, but it hasn't had to work for about 3 or 4 weeks, so I didn't really catch it in time. So I'm like, if you see me, it's not a mistake. It's actually billions degrees here. So this is her chapter. So I'll just share that with you. Yay. Beyond Catch.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of a good, nice fit with Becky's story and your story. We're kind of like a nice little roll into, right? It's like how many ways do I have of being in abundance? And I think in your chapter you told a story about your housing, maybe your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A couple of things about my house.
So why don't you share that with us? And then I'm so excited to have Linda and Adam up next. And how does it get any better?
My friends Linda and Adam.
Yay! I know. Every once in a while a guy sneaks in. Only when they're super cold out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you. I invited Adam very comfortably. I was very happy to invite his energy on our show. So go for it, Christine.
So I was similar to Gosha in that when you asked me to write a chapter for the book, I thought, okay, so what am I going to write about? And what came up was acknowledging where I have created money and beyond the cash, like beyond my bank account, I got to look at all the places where I created magic in my life around money from the time I was very young. From the time I was probably 10, 11 years old, I was creating money from the joy of it. And it really didn't have to do with, I'm going to do this to make money, but it was, I'm doing this, I'm making ties that my father helped me do. And
That's right.
And then he would take them to work and sell them, and ironing shirts, which was meditative for me, and I loved it. And then I made money doing that. So it made me look at all of the magic that I've created in my life. And what you mentioned about my housing is I looked back at, I've had 3 different homes that I've owned since I was about 24 years old. And each time I found those homes, they really showed up like magic. Somebody told me about this house after we were looking.
Nice.
And my most current home, which I've been living in for 6 months, it was the same thing. I really didn't know where I was going to go and whether I was going to rent. I was a nomad for a while. And then this place showed up. And it wasn't until I actually moved in that I realized that everything that I have in this place was exactly what I was asking for.
Oh my gosh.
Down to a river view.
Oh
Which,
my gosh.
when I asked for the river view, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be right on the river, but that's
Right.
not now. That's something in the future.
Mhm.
And then after I lived here a month, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a river view. When the trees are not in bloom, I have a river view.
Oh
It's
my
a
gosh.
little further away than I had pictured in my mind, but I have this gorgeous river view.
Wow. Even when you say that, like I'm tuning into the vibration of that. And really what's showing up for me to ask our listeners is if you're getting a hit for something to desire or to seek, or the energy of something that would be different for you, to not just rule it out, to be like, there's something in that might be contributive. Because even when you said that, like your whole being lit up. So how good is that for your body, right? To have that space that's a nice energetic match for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And everywhere I created these situations that brought more into my life, it was from a very relaxed space. It was not from the force of, I have to have this, I have to do this. It was from a space of just relaxation. And not having any conclusions about when it would come or where it would come from. Those things that whenever I find myself with the force, it's
That's
not
the ease. Because I haven't done things like that very often. Like I do things like now I manifest whatever I'm like a powerful creatress, right? But I haven't always been easy with it. Like, I'll be like, I'm going to have this. And like, I'm going to dominate the energy of everything until I manipulate everything to have exactly what I want. I love what you said, where you're just kind of like being with the magic of it. So I'm just going to like absorb that for a minute.
Yeah. And ease doesn't always look easy. It's like the story I tell in my chapter about a fire I had in my house. Now, most people would say that wasn't easy, and I would say it wasn't easy, and it all was created with ease. Everything that occurred after the fire actually gave me many things that I was asking for.
Right.
And just using the Access Consciousness tools and being in the question of what else is possible, and it allowed everything to show up with ease. A place to rent, just having my house redone, not having to pay for any of it, the insurance paid for it. When people would try to get me into the trauma and drama of it, it was not trauma and drama at all.
Well, I can't get over how fast this is all going tonight. So yay. If you wanted to just share with our readers and listeners like a tool or some kind of thing that they could take into their day, into their world, what would you share with kind of coming from your Christine place of being? Yeah, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say look for what is joyful for you in your life. Whether it's a job, I love to work with kids. I love to be physical. So I got a job as a physical education teacher. And so it's more about looking for what is joyful for you, and then the money will follow. So
Nice.
that is the piece of the tool or the piece of advice I would give to people. Just relax, have fun, have joy in your life, and the money will show up.
Yay! Thank you, Christine. I love it. So thank you so much. And your books have been ordered. They're on the way. So how much better can we have? How much more fun can we have with this? And are you ready, Linda and Adam? Yay! Mwah. Thank you, Christine. So you have to unmute, Linda.
There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, that's so much better, right? Christine, you're welcome to hang out. I like your face. Here's hang out for as much as you like. Yeah, right? Yay! Why not? Suck it all in. So I'm just going to introduce my next guest, Linda and Adam. And Linda joined it was funny. The book was kind of nearing completion and we connected, and it was just this kind of it was just this knowingness of something. It was this sort of magic knowingness of something. And when I read her story, there was a place in her story where she talked about this growing up where she had to make her clothing like not be so obviously from the thrift store. It's like,
yes, be creative.
Yeah. How can I take my clothing that looks like it's from the thrift store and not? And so there were all these ways that you had to sort of cartwheel to exist,
Yeah.
So maybe just kind of take us through a little bit about your chapter, which is chapter 4 in the book. It's right here. And I think it's something about kindness with money. Is that an oxymoron?
Yeah. Because
so tell us about that.
Well, like growing up, my parents, first of all, my parents grew up during the Depression. So there wasn't a lot of joy around money. Really, a lot of it was more like, how can we skimp and save and just collect things? And they didn't really, like, it could just be elastic bands or like paper bags. And so we had like piles and piles of all around the house of these things that maybe, like for a rainy day. And so there really wasn't a lot of joy around money. It was basically, okay, buy whatever's on sale or only what is needed. And so I grew up with that mindset, and also when you talked about going to the thrift store and creating clothes that actually I could wear to school. And I actually realized through writing this story how much joy that actually was, like how creative that I could make my clothes so that they were different and that I still fit in. And so there was really like a joy to that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else?
So let me just ask Adam a question. Hi, Adam.
Yeah.
Hello.
Nice to meet you in front of the audience and everything. Yeah. And Adam, you've kind of been listening and hearing the energy of the book. And it's so fascinating to me because in my lifetime, when I look at like how easily I command a job or how easily I have a loving family life, like how some things are so easy for me. And then it's like the having money thing. My gosh. So what would you say for people who are kind of in that place of that would like to just have more ease with having it?
I would say just really reflect on what money meant to your parents growing up, what money meant to your family. It seems like the meaning that people create around money is one of the biggest things that determines the ease that we have of having it or not having it. So that's the biggest thing that comes to mind, is just look at what the significance of money is for you, of whether it and what the right amount of money is to have based on growing up, what too much money would be, what too little money would be, just looking at all of the meaning and significance around money. And once you get clarity about that, it's a lot easier in changing it.
You know what was so funny is, like, as I'm listening to him talk, this just cracks me up, because every time I think I've cleared everything, and then I was like, there was judgment around having it. Like, there wasn't judgment around making it in my family, but there was judgment around having it. So I appreciate that. It's so funny. It's like, just when you think you're all clear, then you go, oh my God. What did it mean to them? Oh, like, what did they feel about rich people? And there was all this weird stuff about rich people. It wasn't just like a simple, they're bad or they're good. It was like very convoluted. So Linda, why don't you keep chatting with us? I really was interested in the word kindness, because I feel like that's one place, like, in our, overarching culture, that we've kind of forgotten that with money.
Yeah. So kind of throughout my, especially with taking classes with Access Consciousness and learning more from Gary Douglas, I started looking at what is kindness with money and how I could be kind to myself with money. Like before Access, really, I would just buy whatever food, or I didn't take into considerations like what clothes my body really loved. And so I started to look at how I can actually use money to purchase things that were actually a kindness to me and my body, and that I really loved, like, to wear, and that my body loved, and that I would move differently. And the other thing was that I would ask things, even like in the grocery store, like I would hold up a tomato and say, tomato, will you, contribute to me? And will you, contribute to my body? And it was a totally different way of, of like everything. Yeah. Like everything. And then like this piece of furniture, because everything has consciousness. And so everything can contribute. And then I also talk about in my story how I started to ask like the earth to contribute to me, and how that was a kindness, and how that also brought, wealth and money into my life, like in a different way. Like I started to receive from really everything in a totally different way.
Isn't that fascinating? Like, so for people who aren't really familiar, accessconsciousness.com is a good website to start on. I also like accessconsciousness.tv. You can actually pop on there and find some places to learn. I think Cass Thomas is in some videos on money, but there's videos on body and all kinds of different things. When you talked about like choosing clothing that your body liked, or choosing things that feel good on your body, like if I look at my childhood, like that was such a foreign concept. It was, I'm trying to think of how they would approach it. It wasn't really like awful, like it wasn't like awful or anything, but it was more like, oh, I know. I don't like shopping. It was get it done.
Yeah.
I was given a lot of freedom. Like we weren't impoverished as a child. They might have been weird about money, but they both worked, and we had, what we needed. But it was like, get this done. Like, I'll take you shopping, but I'm not enjoying it. And you can go in there and pick 3 things that you need. And then let's just have this, like, be over. Like, that's the energy I get around all of that. And so when you talked about, like, going in and even having, like, grocery store or jewelry and having it be more of an experience, that felt to me like another planet.
Yeah, no, that's totally, yes. And before, like, I learned some of these concepts from Gary, I didn't I didn't approach it that way. I just like you're talking about, okay, I have like an hour after work,
Yeah.
plow through and do all my, errands and stuff.
Yeah.
So it really does take it into kind of like this adventure, like it's joyful,
Mhm.
and it can contribute to your whole life. Like it's not something that's like stressful. And Christine had talked about that space of ease, just that relaxation
Oh, I
where
know. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Christine.
yeah,
That really
yeah,
was. And like choosing a house, like letting it kind of be so magical. That was awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And so what if really everything could be this ease and this sense of relaxation, even in the midst of something that like society would consider kind of a tough thing to go through. And what if you could also incorporate that with kindness towards yourself and towards others? And so that's what I like to look at as I go through my day. Like, how can I bring more joy?
I can't interview you guys without asking you just a few questions about the four-legged beings in your world.
Oh,
I can sort of hear them saying, you haven't mentioned us.
oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
let's see if Batman and Yola would like to have any conversations with our audience about
Oh, wow.
about having things and how the animal energy can contribute to that. And you guys can both maybe
wow.
talk about that if you like, because I'm feeling like they would like everyone to kind of have more ease with it as well.
Oh, wow. So what would they like to contribute? What? I can just like perceive their energy kind of radiating. Like now that you're bringing it up, they're sticking at them. Like it's just like me. And what can we learn from animals about kindness and caring?
Yeah.
And contribution, right? And
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that came up really big when you said the word caring.
Yeah.
Like I felt like there was this energy of caring. A lot of times people will care for their animals more than they care for themselves.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of like what I got was like the animals would like to show that back or something. I don't know what I was getting, but it was some interesting communion energy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just getting, what energy, space, and consciousness are the animals in all of our lives, and what contribution can they be to us and our money flows and really everything, this peace and calm that we're talking about. What contribution can we be, and what contribution can they be?
Adam, with you, I got this picture of you just having so much joy when you're with them.
Yeah, when I'm around horses, and especially Batman, my horse, I find that it's a lot more difficult not to be happy.
I know, right? Oh yeah, he is so pretty. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah.
And it seems more accessible to be me when I'm with horses, and particularly when I'm on top of Batman and have that, just am receiving his energy. There's a sense that it's safe to be me. And there's also a sense that I receive more, and I get how, even though horses can cost a lot with the hay and all the things that horses require, how much they contribute to all their expenses and more of the extent of the contribution for the happiness that they facilitate for me. And
I saw like this huge I'm sure this isn't a word, so, but I saw like this exponentializing joy. Like I just saw it like here's joy, and then here's joy when we're hanging out with the animals and we're having all that loving, yummy energy that just like it's like right. It actually I can see it being a very expansive energy, right? And
Oh my gosh,
energy and money, they're friends.
yeah, absolutely. and we ask all of our animals to contribute to our money flows, and to just contribute to us in terms of just all the cuddling and everything, but also like just how we don't want to cut anything out,
Right.
Really
that was
cool.
really beautiful. I totally caught that. I totally felt that. Thank you.
Aww.
Yeah, I felt that just that beautiful space of that felt really good. So just we're gonna head over. Betsy McLaughlin is on deck in just a few minutes. Hi, Betsy.
Yes, hi, Betsy.
Betsy made some beautiful graphics. They're so pretty.
Oh, they were wonderful.
So Linda and Adam, just maybe let's just kind of like center for a second and then just see if the audience from you could bring one thing to their world that they maybe haven't brought yet. What's showing up for you to share with the audience?
Well, for me, I'm getting is with money, how I've been able to use it to make a difference in others' lives, which I thought was really cool. And it doesn't even take a lot of money. It can be, it actually doesn't even require money in a way, but this making a difference in others' lives, in terms of maybe if it's just a kindness to leave an extra tip or to smile a little bit more, or to, I'm not sure what else to, like it's this difference that money can be in people's lives that can like change their reality. That's so beautiful.
Wow.
And it's a little hard for me to, it's funny because I know I read about it in my chapter, and it's more of the energy of it, of what a difference money can be in people's lives, or what contribution we can be with money in others' lives too. Yeah. And it's kind of, do you get what I'm talking about? Like just,
it's just what I love about that is it takes it out of the ego space, and it kind of moves it into when I expand, the world expands. It's like it takes it out of the ego. It takes it out of the, I need a haircut, and it takes it to when we flow everything bigger, then we can bring in people and have them do things, and then they get to generate, and then they get to travel. Yeah. And then like the designer right now, our designer did this book, and then she's on a plane right now. She's going to Europe, and it's so beautiful that this could help fund her having a beautiful trip with her kids.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes.
And so it's like the energy of this help. Our designer, Rosanna, is now on a plane today going to Europe, and this book helped her do that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Kind of that energy of that, where now she can be all relaxed and happy and contributive because she's getting work, and then you got, it's just that energy that I felt, that I tapped into when you said that, was that it's bigger than one being.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we can all contribute to each other, and then it just flows. It keeps on expanding. And it's awesome, and that's what I love about.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both for coming.
Yay! Thank you for having us.
Everyone who's watching this can go grab this book and enjoy the heck out of it. I do, but I got to read it first.
Yay!
Sorry,
Can I add quickly?
Oh, can Adam add something really quick?
Oh, please do, right, Betsy? Yeah.
Is that okay, Betsy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one thing that I I would say is acknowledge the financial miracles you've already created, even if it doesn't have to be like $1 million, though. If you ask to have the funds to pay for a weekend seminar and all of a sudden a few $100s shows up and you're able to do it, acknowledging that, and that the more I found for myself that the more I acknowledge where I have created money, even if it didn't show up the way that I would have necessarily expected money to show up, that it's opened the door more and more to have more of that. And
Yeah. Thank you.
and
That came from
That's
Christine.
beautiful.
I felt like that came from Christine
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
The acknowledging, and also with Gosha, it felt like there was this acknowledging, don't forget to acknowledge yourself as a potent creator.
Yes.
Even if what that means is you got to do a conscious horse event. I'm just saying, not hinting or anything that you guys might come and do that here. I mean, I could come to something like that. Just
Oh, wow. We'll travel. That sounds fun.
I'm just saying, like, there could be some four-legged creatures that might enjoy our traveling around, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yay.
I don't usually bring up people's horses, but they just were really chatty. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging them.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. I could talk to you guys for a century, but we're going to turn it over to Betsy McLaughlin. And thank you so much again for coming. I so appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Thank you
too.
so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bets. You have to unmute yourself, Bets.
Hello.
Hi. All right, so Betsy McLaughlin is an amazing person. I keep publishing Betsy. I can't seem to help myself. Betsy,
How lucky am I?
Betsy's also in this book.
Yay.
This book is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there's other ones. I'm sure if I look around my desktop. Oh, there's another one. So, Betsy, I'm going to let you run the show. You're going to chat a little bit about having ease with money, and I'm just going to take like a 1-minute bio thing, and you're going to go and have some fun telling our listeners a little bit about your chapter and your beautiful self as far as learnings and ease with money, and I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Okay.
Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me just to talk about my chapter or just me in general?
Well, I think your chapter would like you to mention it. It's kind of jumping up and down. So, yeah, it would like you to give it some love. Your chapter, what could wealth mean to you? And you've started to look at all the things that started generating, and I will be right back. I just have a quick bio break.
Oh, thank you. So, hi, everybody. This chapter was really a lot of fun to write. Once I kind of got out of my own way and it really was such a blessing for me to be able to write this because it shone the spotlight on all my misconceptions about what wealth was and what wealth wasn't, what money was and what money wasn't. So it was really so much fun for me to play around with it. And one of the things that I actually had in my chapter was I was playing around, there's always acronyms. So I was playing around with what wealth could actually possibly stand for. So I have the W stands for willing. The E stands for embrace. The A stands for ask. The L stands for laugh. The T is tantalize. And the H is happy. And so what if wealth and embodying wealth and being willing to embrace the tantalizing happy you actually has nothing to do with money? So that was some of the stuff that I was having a good time playing with and really changing my perspective about what wealth means to me and what does wealth mean to the people who might be reading the book, right? And it goes, for me, I realize it goes way beyond money, right? It's, do you have a wealthy life? Do you have a lot of people that you call friends? Are you able to do the things that you desire to do? So a lot of those things were really popping in for me as I was writing the chapter. And I was just so, so grateful to really change my perspective on what wealth was. So it's fun.
Well, I missed all that, but you know what I wanted to ask you? How
Yes,
much
ma'am.
how much do you wear on your body all the time?
Oh, that was a great conversation that we had. It really was. Like, it was because you were telling me about somebody who wore a lot of money on their body at all times. And I was like, oh, I wonder what it would take to do that. And I went, oh, wait a minute. I do that. Because I just, with my wedding ring
Right.
alone is, it's
Some
quite,
10K baby.
valuable, right? And so then I just had a wonderful experience in Costa Rica. I got to shop the antique guild that Gary Douglas and Chris
Hughes.
Thank you, Chris Hughes run. And it was so much fun to try on all that jewelry and play with it. And a piece desired to come home with me, which really surprised me. And my body literally kind of went jumping across the table in this little corner. And there were so many people around it, it was even hard to get to it. And my body was very insistent, go there, go there, go there.
Wow.
And then that ring, just that was the only thing I saw on the table. And it was so pretty. And I was like, wow, how much fun is this? And then I asked, if it came home, did it desire to come home with me? And if it did, would it contribute to my life? And I was getting yeses and yeses and yeses. So I had so much fun. I got a new ring to bring home with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you go from the beginning for us, because one of the things I love about working with Betsy is you can be completely yourself. Sorry. One of the things that's so fun is you can take us from really there's no wrongness in getting started. So could you I've just got this kind of take on what if I'm just getting started? Some of the people that are going to be tuning in may be new to having money, thinking about having money, and really believing that this is possible. Some of the upcoming authors I have coming in the fall are really quite young.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about just shifting the shifts into carrying it around, into feeling ease with kind of it being near you, and just kind of tell us a little bit about those shifts into having this being okay.
Yes, thank you. As I realized that there was a long period of time where I felt like I didn't deserve to have any money. Having money was for other people. And my definition of it was so skewed. So when I realized what I was doing is what would, why don't I deserve to have money? And then realizing that none of those points of views were even mine, by, asking questions and saying, well, what would it take to, carry $50 in my wallet all the time and never spend it? And then I was like, okay, well, I can try that. I can play with that. And then that was easy. So what would it take to carry a few $100s in my wallet? And having and Gary Douglas is the first one who I ever heard say that, he carries, I don't remember the dollar amount, but it was something that for him, whatever that amount is for you to start off with, that what would that make you feel like to always have that cash with you but never spend it? Would that change your, how you feel about money? And so I started doing that. I was like, oh, wow, it really does. And so in having that money and never spending it, there was a comfort in that. And then I started doing the Honoring Me account, where I took 10% of each, whatever dollars come in from wherever, and putting it in my Honoring Me account. And at first it was very hard to do because I wasn't used to saving any money. I was used to any money coming in was going right back out, spending it on bills or whatever. So at first I couldn't even do 10%. And I did, I think maybe 3% and then 5%. And then, worked my way up to the 10%. And now it's so automatic. Like as soon as I get whatever money, 10%, at least 10% comes right off the top. So I pay me first before I pay any of my bills or my
Right.
debt or whatever.
And
Yeah.
if you can do that, you don't have to watch anything else or buy anything else or do anything else. You're basically
Right.
done. So bye-bye. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm going to throw you under the bus because I know you keep it.
Oh.
Tell us a little bit when you were renting and you went to owning, because if you recall, or you were owning a townhouse and you went to renting a house.
Yes.
Tell us, that was such a beautiful journey, because I remember this kind of like, you were in this townhouse, which was okay. There's nothing like that at
Right.
all. It was actually a very adorable place.
Yes.
And yet, like, there was always this kind of longing.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about what happened that made that possible.
Well, I changed my mindset. Basically, like Erica said, I did have a beautiful townhouse and I had done everything to it, updated it, made it very nice. I knew that eventually I would like to either sell it or rent it, and I wanted to enjoy some of the improvements that I had done on it. And I had the mindset that I couldn't afford anything more. And so for a long time, and
I couldn't afford anything more.
I couldn't afford anything more. And yeah, exactly, right?
Guess what?
Guess what?
Funny how that works.
What you believe is what you're going to create in your life.
Totally, right?
And so then when I realized, like, finally, I was like, wait a minute. Look at what you're saying. You're saying I'll never get out of here. So for a long time, I never got out of there. And then I went,
wow.
oh my gosh, look at what you're doing. So then I was like, well, what is it possible for me to be in a single family house like I really desired to do? And it's like, oh, maybe it is. And then I talked to a lender and like asked for some creative financing. And so all my decisions about the reasons I could not move, when I started asking questions, well, why, what else could be possible? They kind of like all just got knocked down. And so in the span of 6 weeks, we went from never going to be able to move out of this townhouse to finding a beautiful single family house, which we now live in, and selling the townhouse that we were in. And it was all, through a lot of questions and changing my mindset that, hey, this really is possible. And then everything lined up and it fell like, just ducks in a row or dominoes. It's just a choo, 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 choo.
Oh my gosh, looking back at that, it's just such a beautiful miracle. Like, I can totally feel the energy of that.
Yeah.
Like now in retrospect.
Yeah. And so it's been a little bit over a year that all of this transpired, and we just love our house and we're so happy here. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful energy, and we love it. So it's a beautiful story of, hey, so everything that you think you can't create in your life, what if you ask some questions and maybe something else is possible?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And so just coming back to the book, like having ease with money, it's like, it isn't always going to show up like you think it will. Like it isn't always like everything you think that means. Yeah. Because it's like now you're living in a place that really wants to be a contribution to you all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's such a different energy than when you're not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, oh my gosh, I'll just share with everyone, like with me, I was in this house and oh my gosh, I was getting coached by Betsy and I was getting coached by everybody. It was like, I just have to say, like in retrospect, it was a pretty hideous house. It was like 1970 decor. And it was my first house on my own in a long time. And so I kept kind of like not finding the house. And I think it took me like a year, I think. It took me like a year. I looked for a year. And then I had this moment. It was in Thanksgiving, and my daughter, my youngest daughter, was sick. So she was like, you know, the barfy thing where you just,
Yes.
yeah. So it's like a stomach flu. So she's just, and then she gave it to me. So now I've got it. And then it was just dominoes with my kids. So now we're all just running around this house. And we're just like, I'm not kidding. And if you think a house is bad, wait till there's like 4 people throwing up in it. It's like, oh God, I'm so sorry to bring that up, but oh my gosh. And I was looking around and I felt wretched. I couldn't even get out of bed. Like, oh my gosh. And I was like, you know what? This is changing.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
I am moving. Like, I am done. And I was like,
Yep.
universe, whatever's in it, whatever's stopping me from knowing the house, I don't care what it is. I'm like, I am not gonna wait. I'm not in this house. I'm like done. So it's Thanksgiving, which is like what, like a November weekend, right?
Yep.
So it's like the end of November, and I mean, talk about a generative demand or something. I was just like, you know what? And the carpet in that house, it was the oldest. In fact, when the lady, it had only had 1 occupant, so she had been there 50 years, and then she went to her care place, and so the carpet had never been replaced, and they were kind of cheap. And so when I moved in, instead of replacing it, they pulled it out and they put in new under, and then they put the old carpet back on. And it was like this kind of speckly brown orangey 1970s carpet. It was so bad.
Bad acid trip.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I remember just going, new house, all new flooring. I just remember like, I'm gonna have that. And so I was sitting there kind of like, so I did that, and it was like what, November 28th-ish, right? And we moved into this house December 11th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about a short window.
Yeah, after looking and looking, and then I just, something in me like cracked. Like, like I am done. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't, you know, I don't, whatever it is that this is, no.
Right. Well, and it's a beautiful example about making that demand that this is changing. This is not okay anymore. This is changing. Okay, I'm ready to receive. And then boom, you know, what, 2.5, 3 weeks later, you were in a new house.
Oh my gosh. And then it was crazy the way this one worked, because it was more than I asked for.
Yes.
I've got like 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, which with 3 teenagers is just so flippin' awesome. I've got downstairs for my little messy girl, and she has her own bathroom. My bedroom is like 400 square feet. Like it's got this high ceiling. It's like as big as my studio was when I lived in Santa Barbara. That's actually a little bigger because it's got closets. And I remember just like, and you know, the funniest thing is it wasn't, I mean, like I really do like having ease with money, but it was really more about that self-worth piece, or that like that owning your being kind to yourself. I think it was more that, Betsy. It felt like whatever clicked wasn't actually it was different than money, because it was more just like, okay, what else is possible? And then it was insane that I got this house. It was crazy. It was like,
right. I mean, logically, you shouldn't have gotten this house, right? Right.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, I mean, and now I have to tell you guys the story, because I forgot about this too. And Daria's supposed to join us, but I don't see her yet, so we'll just keep going on. So I'm sitting there, and I went and looked at this house, and I'm talking to Betsy on the phone. I'm like, yeah, it was all right. Remember?
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, yeah, you know, I'll show you guys the backyard here. It's like gorgeous, right? It's like,
oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's so nice. And so I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, and I was living in a place, you guys, oh my gosh, I would never show you pictures. It's like the rats and the mice really liked it. I was like, oh, it was hideous. Oh my gosh. And so I remember telling Betsy that I didn't think I'd apply because I was pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure because I was like, a single mom, 3 kids, it's not going to work. Right? And I have a sweetheart, but it was kind of like this, like, yeah, I probably won't do it. And Betsy's going, huh? And she goes, well, and she was asking me some questions, right? And you were like, well, what would the house like? And the house was like, yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I sent the funniest email, and I'll just tell people this. I was like, I'm interested. I can't do the deposit. I can only do half on this date. I can't move it right away. I could do it on this date. I'm like, I can give you this. I was like, and I just structured a contract that worked for me, right? I was like, I can do this then. I can do this in January. And I was just like, and I really didn't. I was just, and then Betsy goes, well, did you try to get the house? And I go, well, I sent her an email. Remember that?
I sure do.
And I get the back and it goes, yeah, that'll work. I'm like, what? And oh, guys, we have a 3-car garage that fits my sweetheart's boat. We have we're in a great neighborhood. We're in perfect schools for the kids. It's like beyond anything I could have asked for, right? It was it was a beyonds.
Yep, for sure.
And Betsy just was like right there with me the whole time going, huh? He goes, you didn't even ask? I'm like, well, I'm sure we won't get it. Like, right? Like that energy, right? Like, I'm sure we won't get it. And I was like, all right, I'll send a note.
What else is possible? Oh, let's see.
And then 10 days later, boom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's such a contribution. Oh, and that was something else someone else asked me. It was Sadie asked me, well, what would Happy Publishing like?
Mm-hmm.
So upstairs, and you can't see it, there's a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf for all my, like, it's floor-to-ceiling already built in my bedroom, like tall, like 10 feet tall bookshelf built in. And my company went, yeah. Right? It was so crazy because I hadn't remembered to include that in the equation, right? It was like, wow. So hi, Daria.
Hello.
Yay, you're on next. So we'll just go back to Betsy and just ask you one last thing. So Betsy, is there any one thing you would like to just share with our listeners? And thank you for kind of playing with me on my story. And is there anything else that maybe just shows up for you to share with our listeners?
Yes. What showed up when you asked that question was, what are you not asking for? You know, what are you not asking for that, maybe if you started asking for would change things in your life? Right? And there are just a couple of little examples between what Erica and I and our living arrangements and how magical it was when we realized what we were not asking for and then what showed up. And so how many other places in our lives are we not asking for things that if we would ask for them would magically show up?
Yeah, right. And over the next few days, those of you who are listening to this right away, as I'm just recording it or listening to it tomorrow, we're going to have some beautiful infographics that that Betsy created for us, and they are stunning. And at one point, I had it all set up to show on share screen, and that kind of evaporated because I was clicking. But everyone who's on Facebook will see the beautiful infographics by Betsy. So thank you for your contribution. And the book thanks you, Betsy.
Welcome.
And she also helped me edit. So thank you, Betsy.
You're so welcome. And thank you for allowing me to play with such amazing people.
And we now have Daria.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you, beautiful?
I'm good. I finally made it on the call. I couldn't get on.
Oh, really? I have this thing and I can't really toggle too easily to go back onto Facebook and see what's going on. So I'm like, well, she'll join us when she can.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me over. This is a nice conversation with nice, amazing, creative, and different kind of people.
Yeah, and Daria is actually she is chapter 1. Daria and I picked up this book.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she's chapter 1, and she and I actually co-created this book in January of this year, and she was the first author to say yes, and she was just like, yes, 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 like yes, like yeah. It was just this like, oh my gosh, right? Remember that whoosh that came?
I do
It was
remember
just
that.
this like, the planet needs this. What can we create to help people? What can we, and it was kind of that Linda energy of what can we create that will give others, that will be more for others. And I remember it was like just this, such an amazing yes. And I just sat back and went, because I had been a little hesitant because I'm like, what do I know? And so in the space of the creation of this, the co-creation of this, Daria, I love your chapter where you got to go to a party with the presidential candidate. So crazy. Like, so tell us a little bit about your background. Are you in Canada now, or where are you today?
I am in Canada. I just came back from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Hong Kong. What an interesting infusion.
Wow. And those photos were insane. They looked like magazine photos.
Thank you. Yes, it was beautiful. And it made me a lot more aware of our insane points of view and madness around money.
Wow. Thank you.
And the lack of ease and an abundance of significance and insignificance.
Interesting.
So it was really good to be infused in that culture where they have a lot of them have point of view that they're insignificant with regards to money. And that is being like exaggerated, I would say, energetically. Where in other parts of the world that I've traveled to, like North America and Europe, it's actually the energy that's been suppressed. Where we've been trying to show and prove that we are significant and we do mean something to money and we can make it happen and. So it was really interesting to perceive a whole different energy around lack of ease with money, where our book is about what ease of having money.
Right.
And it just showed me a whole different space that we can choose to be with money that we haven't yet stepped in.
Well, keep taking that idea, Daria, to our audience. So show us a little bit about what's possible that we may not have even, and Betsy and I were just chatting about, like, we weren't even asking for it. Like, we didn't even know. So tell us a little bit about, like, that sort of being in that space of I don't know, there's just something so energetically yummy in your space, like where you're able, you know what I mean?
In my history, let's say that. I was raised in a family of a teacher and an engineer, and we lived from a paycheck to a paycheck, let's call it that way. We couldn't afford a lot of things that I wanted to have as part of my life, like the things that I'm offering to my daughter right now, traveling the world and taking her to the ballet classes, making sure she's got the best tutu and the best shoes, and making sure she's got classes, gymnastics, and if she wants piano classes, she can have that too. And I couldn't afford it. Not only I couldn't have it, like ballet classes, for example, because of my mom's genes that they looked at, but genetics, but we couldn't afford it. So, but I never looked at money from a perspective of lack. It was always about what can I create? What can I have? And that's where the ease for me with money comes from. The ease of creation with and for the future. So when I look back at my life, let's say rewind 12 years, I didn't think, I could not even imagine where I would be today. That was not on the map. That was not even a possibility slightly glimpsing at me. Because my life was back in Russia with going through university and maybe marrying a man and getting a normal life, getting a family, maybe moving to Europe, possibly because that was my dream, to move to France and get my master's degree in France because I went to the French.
There was something that you were just touched upon that I really felt strongly, and that was very interesting awareness. It was this childhood in Russia, and it was something about the separation that so many people feel growing up in the different countries they grew up in. And yet I felt like this sort of universality. So I felt this like thing with Linda, where she grew up in her house, which wasn't in Russia, and yet there was a lot of financial lack of ease. And then, and it was like I grew up in, Palo Alto. I wasn't actually impoverished.
Oops.
Sorry, I got there later though, don't worry.
You were just making up for the damage.
Sorry.
That's a great awareness to have.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then it was like we had Poland, and then I have people like from India, and then I have people from like all these different countries that they lived in, all these different countries. And in that space, there's this sense like separation, and yet I get this such a universal.
It's not about the country where you were raised. It's not about even the culture you were raised in. It's about the points of view you were raised with.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And so my family, even though they were not even a middle class, I would call it, but my family never had, my mom, who had a very strong influence on our family, never had a point of view of lack. She would make things work. She would always find a way to give us the best of the best. I was given education with regards to the theater and museums and art, all of the things that most wealthy kids don't know about, I know about. But that's the wealth and the energy of the wealth that she instilled in me.
Wow, that's beautiful. I can feel that.
That allowed me to keep asking for more and looking for more. And that's where my ease with money comes from, having money. It's what do I do with my money to create more for my future? And I don't look from the logical points of view. Because logical points of view, if they could have gotten us to all the wealth and riches we could have had, we would have been there by now. So I actually look back at my life, and before getting to have access tools, I was already being access tools and using access tools like light and heavy. Energetically, I followed my way through from Russia to Canada, from one marriage to another, with a kid, with choosing a different career, with all of that. But it never was logical. And yet there was, of course, still points of view in place that didn't allow me to have even more ease with money, like letting the men I chose to contribute to my life. I had to do it all on my own, whether I had men who could do it or not. And so getting out in the world right now in a way that I have created, where I was able to be at this fundraisers for the United States presidential
the future president of the United
events,
States,
right? And possibly we're going to have Hillary Clinton as a president now. Who knows? Or like meeting the Rockefeller family, or going to fashion events. That could have never been my reality. That was not something I was asking for either. But what I was asking for is to perceive, know, be, and receive a different financial reality. And so the universe have brought people in my life that have allowed me to perceive that energy and see if I like it or not. And what I've noticed, it's not about liking the fullness of those universes, those realities. It's about what part of that universe and reality creates more ease for you, and having that. And for me, that's where ease with having money comes from. Having money and being able to contribute to thousands of kids around the world, or being able to contribute to the ballet society in Vancouver that barely exists, or or being able to just give money.
It's not going to
the
barely exist for very much longer, will it?
Exactly, right? But don't a society that contributes to restoration of Versailles, Friends of Versailles, American Friends of Versailles. Without them, we would have not had Versailles by now, because the government of France apparently doesn't spend a lot of money on maintaining Versailles. It's the individual investors for the last 200 years restoring the place. So that's where, for me, the global picture of having ease with money comes from. Being able to support and create the future that we would like to have.
So let me ask you this. This is something, and then I'm so blessed to have Miss Bettina Medini, who did paint our gorgeous cover. Just saying.
It is gorgeous.
So beautiful. I know, I loved it. It was so interesting, because I kind of thought about, would it have a dollar? Like, what would the cover look like, having ease with money? And then Bettina and I, it was like we just knew. It was so fun. Actually, I think a couple paintings fought for the cover, and we had to kind of like talk to each one and see which one really was going to be on the cover. It was very interesting. But Daria, if you could just kind of like pull the energy of the audience in right now, because these get listened to by quite a few people, and just ask what awareness or tool or something beautiful, Daria, you'd like to share with our listeners that might shift their reality.
If past was not your future, what would you like to create? That would be the question I would ask. If past was not your future, if past was not relevant anymore, what would you choose today? Because we keep stopping ourselves based on the past references. And past is past, and if you keep bringing those reference points into the future, your past will become the future. And is that the future you'd like to have with money?
Wow.
That would be my 5 cents.
Ooh, baby, yeah. Not a lot of potency in this room. Not at all.
Well, if we were not to choose from what we have today in the pocket, and we were to choose from what we would like to have as our life and living, what would we choose?
Yeah.
Like I said, my parents did not have money to buy us tickets to the theater every week. But my mom had friends who would let us to sit on the stairs and watch ballet. Didn't matter how we got it. It mattered what we got it. And what we took it and created that with and for.
Yeah.
Because right now I can buy the most expensive seats at the ballet
for your baby
and watch with champagne in my hand. That was never a reality 25 years ago.
Wow.
So that's what I'd like to invite all the people and the listeners and the people who will read the book is, if past was not your future, what would you choose?
And I just want to encourage people to go find Daria on Facebook and in the book, and all of our beautiful authors, because she does calls and lessons and teachings, and there's a lot there, right? I mean, you're very much making yourself available now to help people change this and shift this on the planet. It's pretty big, and actually you have your own whole book coming, yes?
Yes, it is coming along. I will keep the title secret for now.
This is typing. Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming, Daria. I'm so glad you're in the book, and I'm so glad for you tonight. And we're going to move it over to Bettina Medini, and I think she's joining us from Wisconsin, yes?
Yes, I'm in Wisconsin. Yes, by Madison.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you. It's
Thank you
always
so much for having me here. It's really, wow, so fun.
I know the book is super light, and it's very joyous that you painted its cover. So I'll
Mm.
just share that again. Everyone loves it. Bettina went a little bit wild when she wrote her chapter. True. She's like, Erica, I just keep writing. And remember,
Yes,
it
I
was
do.
like something came down. There was like, I think maybe a few angels or something involved. It's called Dancing with Money.
Yes.
And it's chapter 2. It's just amazing. It has in it exercises for us. It has in it gratitude. It has in it space. It has in it land and earth. So, it's interesting, Bettina, because as I sit here with you in this space with you, I'm just like your chapter is dancing. Like, it's just so beautiful. So tell me, maybe if you could, um, how would you maybe like to have your chapter show up tonight for this audience?
Yes, great. While I was writing the chapter, I was in Costa Rica, and I kept asking, well, what do I write about money? See, I have a whole, like, this reality's background with money, like what Daria also said, like the way I grew up, what did I learn about money? Then the whole part of my life where I was in banking in Luxembourg. So, and what do I write about? What can I actually also inspire? What different angle can I bring into people's worlds that they could use to create something different with money than what we see everywhere around us? And so the dancing with money came up. So what if money is not as solid as we learn everywhere around us? What if it is more than that? What if it is an energy? What if it is something that we can also receiving? What energy can we receive? What can we create with money? Not from the conclusion, not from paycheck to paycheck, but what can we actually receive, and what can we create with money from a totally different point of view? Now that might, when I ask this, it might be like, yeah, what? So what if we never stop asking that question? What can I create with money that I've never even considered? What money can I receive? And so the dance with money has this whole element of joy and motion. What else is possible with money? Oh, I don't hear you.
There we go. Oh, I just had to share one of her beautiful, joyous
Yes.
paintings.
What a dance, right? Like dancing is dancing takes us a little bit out of the solidity, out of being so serious with money. What if we can actually be joyful and playful with money? What else truly is possible if we don't see the reality of money like this, but we dance and we look everywhere? How can money actually come to us? How can we receive more? What greater is possible?
I'm going to ask you, I like asking questions because I know you guys so well. I'm so blessed to have such beautiful people in my life. When you kind of shifted from doing kind of like the status quo,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were like, well, art could be something that contributes, or I could do art. And then there was all this sort of family, like a contraction around like accepting oneself as a gift. Because even this morning I was working with someone who likes to put her hands on people. She likes to do like bars and hands-on and like massage. And we were working on like the energy of her business space and the creative space. And you've been able to really shift that energy in your life and create places and spaces for the art of you. And can you just kind of share for us a little bit about the energy of that journey? Because it's something I can actually feel our audience like palpably like desiring.
Yes, great question. Well, it is actually a choice that I made. And what if choice is also something that is not like a one-time choice? What if it is not about being discovered, like this one-time thing, and all of a sudden Cinderella was married and all was great and story ends here? What if choice is actually something that we do in each 10 seconds? I made the choice to change my life and to change my living space, to leave Europe and to go to art school in New York City. I made this choice to change. Now, it didn't end there. It wasn't that, oh, now she is in Nirvana and all was great.
Nice.
It required me to choose every single moment. So what if you all don't stop choosing? Because every choice will also bring you an awareness. Also with money. Now, we all have the tendency to make ourselves wrong for choices. Yes?
Right.
So what if no choice is wrong? So what can you actually create when you don't make yourself wrong? Also with the choices with money that you have made. Choice creates, so choosing that which is joyful for you.
I have to tell you, Bettina, in the space of that, I don't think we've really talked yet on this show. And Christine, welcome. We'll be joining you soon. Bettina joined us a little late, so we're going to give her a little more space to play, and then we're going to turn it over to you. Everybody kind of like stacked up a little different. So, Bettina,
thank you.
One of the things that showed up for me in the self-judgment, like few places do we judge ourselves more than money. Like it's such a place of judgment. Seems like it's also like in my family a place where they can judge me, or where there's judgment around that. Like I can't really put my finger on it, but as soon as you said it, I got pretty lit up about it. So maybe just share with us like what we can do to not be so self-judgy on the money issue.
Yeah, so what if we never judged ourselves? Like it could be a choice also to not judge you anymore. It could be like, wow, look here, I'm judging myself again for not creating enough, or for having made a specific choice with money. We could just really choose to say, I'm not judging myself anymore. What else can I choose here? Rather than, when Daria was talking about the past, right? When we judge ourselves for a past choice, we pretty much take ourselves and stick ourselves into the past and keep our energy there also. Ever notice?
How is that fun, right?
Yeah, I wonder. So what if we don't what if we don't choose this anymore? What if we just catch ourselves doing that? You know what? We can just say, I'm not choosing this anymore. I changed this. It could be as easy as that, to choose, yeah, you know what? I made that choice. Was not my smartest choice. Okay, what else can I choose now? And not make anything wrong. not even making money wrong, not even using money actually to just judge ourselves a little bit more.
I just got shown something, and so having this like beautiful psychic nature I have, one of the things I just kind of felt like bringing up right now in the spirit of this is when you're just about to push into like a brand new space that's way bigger than the space you've been in, there's a bit of a moment of drama, or there's a bit of a moment of holy crap, where's my carpet? Like I'm flying on this thing and then it's like gone. And so as you're shifting into something new that you've been guided to do, and maybe it's singing, or maybe it's painting, or maybe it's doing, hands-on helping healing work, or whatever it is that you've been like, everything sort of moving you into it. You want to have caution to judge too quickly, because you need to give it time. And that's kind of one of the things that I was seeing when I saw your conversation in this of Dancing with Money, is this space of beingness that kind of allows us not to just jump in and cut off our little baby seedlings of our new life, because that's just something I look to you for. You're such a beingness of allowing of that new growth. So how do we sustain that sort of new growth before like all the money comes? Or do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
as we're shifting our,
right,
because we're moving on to something bigger.
Exactly, that's great. Like when we tap into more of our being, when we expand, we might meet the discomfort. Like it's like, Daria talked about reference points. I don't have reference points here. This is all new. So what if we don't kill that right away? But you could ask a question such as, is this discomfort part of the change I've been asking for?
Oh, that's a good one.
Is this actually part of the greater space I have chosen? And what would it take for me to have ease with this? Total ease and clarity and joy with this, rather than making it wrong. When we make it wrong, we go back, right? We just like we dismiss it.
Yeah, like I better go get a job again.
Yeah, like exactly. And so like, what if we can really ask questions? What is this? What do I do with this? What is this discomfort? Is this part of the change I've been asking for? And what can I choose now to have ease with this?
Wow, that is so beautiful, and I could talk to you all night, but I have to go over to our next speaker in our next chapter, who wrote a beautiful chapter. And Bettina, you're just so much fun to play with. I just love you so much. I just want you to know that, how much I care. And go get this book. You'll get her beautiful chapter. It's a really nice, thick, robust chapter on dancing with money that showed up in Costa Rica. So thank you, Bettina, and welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, Christine.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Wonderful. Happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, Christine's chapter is so cool. It's just a little different. It's pretty unique, right? It just showed up. It's like so interesting. It's like, it's really structured different than anyone else's chapter, and it's just so much fun. So tell us a little bit about your chapter. So in Christine's chapter, she talks about 3 keys.
Yeah, or 5 keys. And
5 in conversations.
Yeah, so
questions. Yeah.
So it came through in a really unique way. So it was like there was like 5 keys that came in to play with, and then the way the chapter wanted to be structured was more like a story. So I created a character that's kind of like sitting in this room and just kind of shared all the perspectives that the character had, right, and held. And just, you know, the perspective that are so common for many of us to have at some point, right? Like, I can't change this. This is hard. I hate this. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, just that kind of helpless or powerless place that a lot of us have been in, right? Or move through phases of as we, you know, as we're on this kind of journey with all these different creations that exist on this planet now. And so I kind of painted the picture with this character, and then we began a journey where this character chose to leave that familiar room, right? It's kind of symbolic of where we're just stuck in a room and we can't move, and just making the choice to just take a step, right? And so in the story, basically this character says, well, I'm just going to take a step and start using these keys that I've just been given and unlock the doors and see what's there. And so the way I structured it was this character goes and just starts unlocking these doors, and behind each door is met with this couple, these two people who offer perspective and offer a different awareness to assist to this character to move into greater empowerment.
Yeah, that was the coolest. I was having so much fun with that. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And how's your body? You were healing from some things. You were starting to write this.
Yeah, your invitation to write it came 2 days after I had broken my ankle and had surgery. And so I had this foot up in a cast, and I was like, well, now's the time to write.
Yeah. I can write.
I can write. So it really, came through at a unique time in my progression, and my body's happy now, and the strength is, you know, in my musculoskeletal system again, and everything's pretty balanced, and so I'm really grateful.
So, you know, I'm just going to ask you, like, I'm totally ADD, so I ask questions that are totally off the wall. Okay, cool. Welcome to my world. So I'm looking at this, but when I look at you, I see the interview that we did on being an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, like, if there's things from being, Christine was a rower, yes?
Yes.
Rower. So tell me a little bit about sort of like growing yourself sort of financially and your athletics, and just kind of like build a little bridge for us. Show us like some of the key things that you might have learned as you became a highly calibrated athlete. I mean, really world class, and among the best at what you did in the planet, basically. And let's just talk about that energy of that and the energy of having ease with money, and just kind of share with us what shows up for you.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say to give everyone a little background. So I was a rower through high school, and then was in Canada here. And so I did BC Summer Games and Canada Cup, so kind of national junior team. And then was recruited to different universities in the US and chose Cornell, and then rode on the Cornell varsity team. And so that was my path. So at the university level, 6 days a week, a couple hours a day, and then in the spring racing almost every weekend, and a lot of travel. So it's a huge part of my life as a student athlete. It's actually interesting. It may be a different answer than you're expecting, but what I found is throughout my life, I was just very supported. I just got scholarships for Cornell, even though they can't give out merit-based scholarships. I got financial aid, so my entire like $30,000 a year tuition was paid for by the university, and they paid for my meal plan. And then I just get these random scholarships emailed to me that I didn't even apply for. And again, it's just different ways that athletes are supported in the system, and which allows us to do what we, came here to do, and in that kind of dimension, so to speak. And I was actually very disconnected from money most of my life, to be honest. So because I was just always supported. So it was a big adjustment for me after that, when all of a sudden I'm not supported. Right?
Oh, I'm done with college. I'm done with all of that. What shows up next?
Exactly. And so I actually had a pretty challenging journey with money, because it was just, I was quite disconnected from it most of my life, in the sense that it was just always would come to me to support my endeavors. And then after that, it just didn't. So I had to really fill in the gap and learn what I was never taught. And that was quite a process.
Nice.
So yeah, so really starting from ground zero, going, okay, so what is this, right? And just really taking that one step at a time and just acknowledging it, and also, you know, I used to do a lot of how would I name that? Just gaining way more financial awareness.
Nice.
It was just always there for me, and so I had to step up and choose to have it there for me, right? It was kind of just a given, and then it became a choice.
So what shows up for me when you say that is, what is it that you could bring or share with our audience who are starting out in their businesses? Because some of the people in the book are actually pretty like beyonds in their businesses. Like they're just so amazingly successful in their businesses. And I love like every single author, but many of them are just so insanely successful. And I'm not like, what if we could remember back to the beginnings of like someone I was working with this morning on their beginnings of their businesses, like their beginnings of their getting paid to do what they love or getting paid to be in the energy of that. And what would you like to share with people who come from that perspective?
Well, one thing that came up to really share is often the source of our greatest potency often shows up as our greatest limitation. So again, the source of our greatest potency often shows up as our greatest limitation. So a lot of us who are actually very potent with money are extremely limited with money.
Who knew?
Because we have so much awareness about it. We're aware of the planet. We're aware of people with it. We're aware of all the people suffering. When I started opening to like collective consciousness around money, I was like, there's so much grief and sadness, and like I was so bombarded, I couldn't even function with it. I can't be near it because it brings me face to face with all these realities that I don't yet know how to navigate my awareness of. So many of us just shy away from it because we are so aware of all the realities being perpetrated on the planet. So in order to so for those of us who have been very limited with money, often that's what it's about. We're just like, I don't want to be aware. I don't want to know. This is too much for me. I know for me, I was bombarded with a lot of grief, and even I apologize if this is too intense for some people, but I was bombarded with almost like demonic type energies, or like, you're pathetic. What's wrong with you? Why haven't you figured this out by now? How dare you have debt? Like, so there's so much intensity. And what I really had to come face to face with is I have a lot of potency in this area and capacity to contribute to people changing their financial realities, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I have to walk this path. And so those of us who have a lot of potency often choose a lot of limitation. And we're so connected to so many other people in this area that we have a hard time changing it ourselves. So we do everything under the sun. We're talking years of like everything. Nothing works. So it's not a wrongness of us. It's actually a potency. And we've really chosen to assist a lot of people to change this reality on this planet. And so that's why we're so limited with it. So we walk our walk and we say, okay, what would it take to claim my potency here? What would it take to contribute to these realities changing, to people being empowered with money, to not buying the lies, to not, have their parents imprinting, continuing on in their existence? Like, we have to stop all cycles of abuse, and abuse is perpetrated through money all over the planet. So we have to wake up from that and acknowledge what's going on and make a different choice, right? We are the ones who contribute to initiating a different reality beyond abuse. And so if we can demand that we will never abuse ourselves with money or without money ever again, and never make ourselves wrong and never judge ourselves in regards to it, it's a thing, it's a creation, like, just participate in the way that honors you and your body and your soul, and but we have to demand to stop in regards to money, because it is rampant, and so many people are secretly suffering, and I can feel everyone's pain in regards to it because I'm so sensitive to everything in regards to money. It's just a thing for me. And so I'm aware of all the people that just feel totally disempowered around it, and that are hiding that disempowerment, and are being very secretive, and on the surface presenting this facade of everything's okay, but they are suffering inside, and I feel their suffering. And so it was an art for me to really come out of that place of just feeling the secrecy and the lies and the suffering into, okay, well, how about I will begin with me and empower myself with this. So I clear all the abuse patterns around money. I clear any way I would judge myself with it or without it, right? I clear all the ways that I allow other people to judge me with or without it. And everything I made it mean about me, to me, for me. And everywhere I would judge other people according to it, and being like, I will not under any circumstance judge any people, anyone according to money or no money. Like, I'm not putting money in the equation of judgment. And it's like courageous, but when we wake up to that level of empowerment and see what's really going on and the number of people are secretly suffering with or without money, we can change it, right? The more awareness we have, the more choice we have to change. But many of us have awareness we're not acknowledging because it's not pretty and light.
Well, here's the other thing too that showed up as soon as you said that I've acknowledged in others, sometimes right before a change. So if you say something's like a inside of a golf ball, it's got all those rubber bands around it, and then it's got more rubber bands around it, and then it's got more rubber bands around it, it's got more rubber bands around it. And so if you're drawn to work on this, then it could be that you've just gotten through like 60% of all that crap that got circled in there and tight in there and had all that tightness in there. And then just when you're about to get to like the juice of things being easier, then you might go, oh my gosh, I've worked on this so long. Like, why? Like, I had a one-on-one with Bettina, who was just on with us recently. And I was like, Bettina, I've done this, and this. Like, what is going on? Like, really? And she was like, okay, whatever. What does it take to get you from where you are now to where you want to be? And you want to let go of all those rubber bands you had to go through, and how many more you have to go through. Because no one's portrait is the same. It's like no one's portrait's the same. And so what someone might just shift 3 molecules and be like in financial heaven. And someone else might be like 6 years later shifted this much. And I love what you said about not judging people regardless. I mean, that's just so beautiful. If nothing else, that really spoke to me. So thank you. That's so beautiful. Thank you, Christine.
Absolutely. What if now is the time to just remove everything, like just where we've been so invested in judgment, and just say, I'm going to acknowledge all these creations are here. Money's just a creation. It's just an agreed upon reality that we're currently using, right? And so if we can honor it, choose to show up differently with it, be like, wow, how can I be with this? That would allow me to serve and support my gifting in the world, and so we can come into quote right relationship with it. But there's just many of us who have a lot of awareness that we don't want to acknowledge. We can't, if we deny our awareness, we often deny money in the process. So if you can be like, I choose money, I'm willing to acknowledge my awareness and choose something different for me, right? So sometimes we can get locked in trying to change it for a lot of people, right? Like we're tied into a collective and trying to change it for everyone, but just start with you. So just for a moment, untangle yourself from all collective realities and just going, okay, what if I could just choose to change it for me?
Right.
Just choose to change this for me.
Yeah.
And then as you shift energetically, emotionally, and otherwise, then you can contribute to other people changing it. But just often we've tried to change it for everyone at the same time, and that is challenging, right? It's like you're dragging people along that aren't consciously choosing it for them. So choose it for you, begin with you, and empower other people as you move, but not before you move.
I love it. Thank you so much, beautiful.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Happy to be here. I hope everyone loves the book, and may we all have ease with money.
Yeah, right. Why not? And Yurira.
Hi.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
I am so glad you came. Oh my goodness. This is so fun. Yurira, I have to tell everybody, Yurira wrote her chapter in Los Dos Idiomas, in Spanish and in English, and she wrote it just a little bit about sex. Just saying. So
just a little bit.
About to get a little bit sexy here on the call. And then Cass is going to join us in a little minute. And so we're going to just have like a potency beyond. So, Eureka, I just want you to just feel comfortable right now. Mi casa, su casa. You're sitting here. You're in my house. You're in the beautiful webinar. And then just tell us, making money your lover, intimacy, money, sex, and you, haciendo el dinero tu amante, intimidad, dinero, sexo y tú. That's all right for my Spanish. So just maybe take us into if money were your lover, and that's just such a foreign concept, and so just kind of like, wow, right? And you look so beautiful tonight. It's always so beautiful to see you. Wow.
It's always very beautiful to see you too. I'm so happy, and I'm happy with. Yeah, I was part of that amazing
#1 bestseller, baby.
And it goes together with the energy of having ease with money. This book is amazing, and I'm so glad that all the collaborations here, just the energy is so amazing and sexy. And how many times we don't make love with anything else that the person that we decided that it's our lover. What if money can be our lover? What if we can create that relationship with money and have ease and joy, and not just creating it, but enjoying money? For me, it has been an interesting journey to first to learn how to receive money and how to be with money. Because sometimes we just want money to spend it with whatever. And that seems to be the energy of having money. I have money, so I can spend. And I can't go with all the judgments that I have that money can create with me, instead of going into the question and see, okay, what is the energy of the money, and what is possible to create with that energy? And I heard so many times people saying that money is dirty and don't touch that money. Yeah,
I actually, I have to tell you just one of my stories. I just have to share this with you. So I was doing this glass ceiling exercise, and it was a coach, and she was helping me break through the glass ceiling. And this book had come out. It was my second book. It was Happiness Quotations. And I was feeling like selling was dirty, so giving away was good. And so I got to give away my book, but I didn't get to sell my book. And I tapped into that energy of the sexual energy historically over time. And I didn't tell the lady when she was like chatting with me, but I totally tapped into it, and I could feel that money as dirty, and it was centuries back. Yes. And it had to do with sex. And I was like, that is so fascinating. And I went, I just went into that. And so it was not that long later, I went to a workshop, and I had that awareness. I walked out and I sold my book to a woman who was a nurse who couldn't wait to read it. She was so excited. And it was fascinating. All I had to do was stop making that dirty thing. It was like it changed everything for me. So, I want to just not downplay that, because I feel like there's something in that money as dirty, or money as connected to whores and prostitutes and pimps, and the energy of money, or not. You know what else I just got when you said that was gambling? It was throwing money, like and people with money also being seen as kind of like that undercurrent of the mafia, the mob. Like how much of that is like all that stuff you talked about? I mean, it really, to me, did a crazy opening into places where we weren't letting it be part of what is good.
Yeah. Money and sex are two things in this world that everybody, not everybody, but many people, many people has that connotation of dirty and yeah, if money for sex or sex for money and this and that. And there are so many judgments there that maybe there are limitations to create more money with more ease. Maybe not. But maybe yes. So, yeah, and it's all these, it's not sexy. You know, I remember that for many years, I had this no relationship with money. Like, I don't care about money because I'm so spiritual and I don't need money and I'm just a pure soul and I just need enough to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cute. That, you know, it's it didn't work for me for long. I was like, really? I don't have money even for to finish the month in a respectful way, or trying to have some pleasure with money, you know, buy something that you like or going out and have a nice dinner. It wasn't that in my universe until one day it's like, you know, that enough is enough. And how can I change this relationship? And there are many ways to know. First, what is the to be aware what is the relationship that we have with money. Once that we know, if in our consciousness is maybe that, oh my gosh, it's dirty, or oh, it's gonna make me a vicious, evil person, or my family is gonna break down because I'm gonna be rich and they are very poor and I need to stay with them in this little club.
Yeah, you know, we've been doing something. I'm going to pause you right there, because one of the things I've been doing as each author comes is like, what's something you could do, share with our listeners that could bring them some shift. And what I got present to is something that's sort of been a theme for me lately is, who are you not willing to outshine? And you just tapped into it. So do you want to just kind of go into that a little bit more of that energy of, who am I not willing to be bigger than? Or because that felt like did you feel there's like a lot of energy on that? So why don't you keep going with that for a minute? I'll be right back.
Yeah, perfect. You know, it's exactly that energy of, I can't make more money than other people that are close to me. For some people can be, I can't make more money than my partner or my spouse or whoever we have a relationship with. Or I can't make more money than my family or my father because he was the head of my generation or whatever. And so I refuse to shine more than other person.
Yeah.
I already decided that is the biggest figure in my reality.
Right.
So and we don't do that consciously, obviously.
Right.
If we find that we have those points of view, it will give us a lot of ease to just let go that points of view, that conclusions, that separations, and allow us to make a choice. And, you know, it's always a choice. It's, you don't need to, no, everybody needs to have a bunch of money. You don't need to make money to be successful or happy. It's a choice. If it's going to bring...
Yeah. So, Yurira, I have to ask you this, and hi, Cass. You're coming up next, baby. I can't wait. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Anyhow, Yurira, I just want to, I'm going to toss this at you because I know you, so I can. When you were in Mexico and you are faced with, do I stay or do I go? What was it that you feel the energy of that allowed you to kind of break free, or to, because you just completely, like, what your family expected of you, what the good girl, the girl that you're working in a corporate, you know, you're working a nice job in Mexico. It's like everything was like laid out in your life. What do you think it was that allowed you to just go and be in Montana?
Knowing that there was something else. I didn't know exactly what it was. Like, I didn't have a perfect picture of something, but I knew it. I feel it with my body, and it's like, this is okay, this is good, but I want something else. I want something that makes my life bubbly, and I like that fun and that joy that maybe I'm not accessing right now with that ease. So I didn't know that I was asking questions of the way I like, maybe I do now, but
Yeah.
you're asking really, what else is there for me? What else is possible? And I start meeting people that with a different reality than mine. And that was an eye opener, because it's like, oh, okay, I knew something else was possible. I knew this that I know, like my reality, or the reality of my family, or the reality of my city, or whatever, is not all. So that gave me a lot of maybe.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your contribution in the book. And again, it's in English and in Spanish. It's a very beautiful chapter. Look at that beautiful photo. Oh my gosh. It's so much fun being with you on this journey, Rira. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica.
Yeah.
Besitos.
Cass, are you ready, baby? All right, let's do Cass.
How is the volume? Can you hear me?
I need a little more volume.
You need a little bit more volume. Would you like me to speak louder?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. So Cass Thomas is here. She
Woo!
wrote a fabulous chapter. She's joining us today from Colorado, and you look lovely. Oh my God, how do you look so good this late at night? Oh my gosh. You're just having one of those days. You're muted. Yeah. So I'm mute. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. So I'm just going to invite you. Cass wrote a fabulous chapter in the book, which actually is leading into a book that she is building that will be her own beautiful creation. And we got to sneak preview it for everyone in the world. How blessed are we? She joins us. She's actually lives in Italy, and it's Money Housekeeping 101, Clear the Path.
Exactly.
And baby, I'm just going to throw the mic. You got it. What can you share with our audience? And I just like can feel the excitement, so share.
Yeah, the excitement's all around. The magic is all around. And, you know, first of all, compliments for this great topic and the choice of the title of the book. Because ease with money is something that people, believe it or not, aren't really willing to have. Because, so, you know, we've got all these points of view about money is something you have to work hard for. If it's, you know, a penny saved is a penny earned. And all these expressions, I talk a bit about that in the chapter, that we bought from other people about money. And I've been traveling around the world doing money workshops and talking about money, and really recognizing how the vibration of what we speak and what we think and what we project about money actually influences how...
change your camera a little bit. There you go. It was cutting you off right here. Oh, no, that's funny. That's good right now. Thank you, honey. You were just sort of like, you were sort of going like that, and I just was wanting more of like.
I was getting excited, and the cameras, the computer was on my knees, and it was moving. I was like, yes, and the money. Yeah. So
You know, when you said that, I totally felt it. It was like nobody's willing to have ease with it. Like everybody wants to have control with it. Everybody wants to have this with it. Everybody wants to have that with it. When you said that, it was like my whole body went, oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Well,
What
thank
can we
you.
do to shift that? Because holy crap, are we done with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? If we're not, at least recognizing that that is a vibration. So I'm really happy that you said that. I talk about that in the chapter, as you well know, recognizing those shifts, not only in our bodies, in our minds. Anytime an argument, a topic brings up, argument is how you say it in Italian, argomento, right? A topic. It's just not like you're arguing with someone.
Yeah.
Anytime a topic brings up, gets your goat going or gets something moving in you, it's something to look at there, something that you could actually have more ease with, that maybe you're not having ease with in your life.
I lost your audio again.
Yeah, I was just asking the people that are in the room with me if they would be conscious of our Zoom.
Sorry, thank you.
No worries. I'm sure it's funny whenever you're on a call or something like that, everyone around gets excited and they start talking. The birds show up and everything. But yeah, that's true. But so anyway,
let me do this for you. Just to help us kind of focus, like with a laser thing. When you talk about clear the path.
Yeah.
Maybe just share with us, like, clear the path, because when you even say that, like, I get kind of this image of like light being shown, and it feels very different than what we think we're supposed to do when we're working on money.
Right. Well, the thing about money is, Erica, is that it has a lot of different vibrations to it. It has a lot of different energy to it that comes from a variety of situations in which money is involved. So even, I often go, what my mom used to call go around chicken house barn, right, to get to someplace, but I have not lost the focus on it. And just being aware of all those energies that money brings up. A lot of times we're trying to do that laser focus. I really want money. I'd like it to come into my life. I'd like it to come into my life. And it actually has come into your life, but it hasn't come through that laser focus, right? So you don't even recognize it and you don't even see it. And it's a lot of people, it's so funny. I have a friend, and you probably know her too, who's a millionaire. And she said she didn't realize, she thought she was poor. She grew up thinking she was poor. So what is it identified money is as that it actually isn't? And what if we identified it as not money that actually is? So in the chapter, I talk a lot about recognizing the vibration of money, recognizing some of the choices that we make that we're not even aware of, that are excluding or not inviting money into our lives. Let me just say this, I'm sorry. Having ease with it doesn't mean making sure that you have a clear one source of income, but being willing to allow it to arrive from whatever direction it wants to, as chaotic as that may seem. So thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I had the funniest conversation yesterday, and we were talking about, and she's like, and I'm just going to make fun of her here. Hopefully she's one of my authors, but I'll still make fun of her anyways. And so she's like, I just don't want money to have anything to do with like any of my decisions ever. And the way she said it, like I could feel what she wanted, which was like, I could pick to go fly the best class or lower, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But the way she said it basically felt energetically like she didn't want money even to come to her house.
Right.
It was like she was kicking money out at the same time she wanted money. And so it was this weird kind of, because I feel like sometimes with money there's these kind of odd little twisty weird things that show up. Absolutely. That kind of, that was, that energy of that where, and I go, well, then can money even come?
Exactly. When it does come, how many loopholes do we make it jump through? You know what I mean? I always give the analogy like, money gets off on the elevator, and it looks to the right and there's this dark apartment with no music, no lights, no wine, no laughter, saving money on the electricity.
Right.
It looks off to the left and there's like all the lights on and the music's going and people are laughing and they may not have any money, but they're enjoying their life. And so money's like, where is it that I want to go? To the right or to the left? You know what I mean? What invitation are you being for money? It's like, well, let me just stop off on the left and have a little party, and then I'll go on the right and see, and does it ever reach it? How much are we being the invitation to money? And what I talk about in the chapter, I work a lot with the two.
Put your mic closer to your mouth again.
I don't know if there is a mic here, actually.
That's better. Sorry.
Yeah, I work a lot with the tools of access consciousness, and what I talk about in the book is how we can get rid of just what you were talking about, any of those potholes or any of those barriers that we put up without even acknowledging it, without even recognizing it. To receiving money. I talk about in the book a guy that I worked with in Vegas who hated gambling, right? And so, of course, if you live in a gambling state, hating gambling is cutting off, about 90% of the type of money that can come to you, whether it's through gambling directly or through people who actually love gambling. So working through what is it, in what way are you excluding money from your life? And how could you change that? How could you look at something?
Yeah, and it's really funny.
I can't wait to be in the same room with you, girl. I love it.
I read that one big. I did. That one hit me. In what ways are we excluding even that which we choose? We're saying, oh, I choose to invite this, but there was just a lot of energy on that. So it could have been for me, it could have even been from our listeners. So we're just going to trust that we want to break through that barrier of that and allow that energy to completely change. Because when you said that, man, there was a...
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what I try to do also in the chapter is to point out all the subtle ways in which when something rings a bell for us, it shows up, how it shows up when something is our item, which is our ticket, which is something we can clear. So it can come with hot flashes, it can come by being bored, it can come with, you getting an increased heart rate. There's a lot of different ways, and they're all signs that maybe there's something I need to look at here. Because we're always saying, I'm asking for that, I'm really working on that, I'm trying to do that. But how much are you equally keeping it at bay? With the choices that you're making, some of the words that you're pronouncing. I mean, even in the Bible, it talks about thought, word, deed, right? So what are the thoughts with which you're creating your financial situation? What are the words? Vibration, because words have a vibration. And what are you doing that's not allowing it to come with ease? And it's not just people who don't have money. People who do have money often have a lack of ease with money. So hopefully this Ease with Money book that you have brilliantly put together, my darling, will be a contribution to everyone. And
I know, right?
Little hands.
I know. Did yours are getting there to you.
1 second, let me ask. Thank you for putting that in the email. Excuse me 1 second. I don't want to yell in your ear. Miss Robin, did the Ease with Money book arrive? Did the Ease with Money book arrive?
It looks like this.
Looks like this. Look. Say hi to the people. You can see. That's on deep. Say hello to everybody. These are the people that are here. Can they see? Can you see them? Yes, right. We just finished our class, Easing into Consciousness, with Mr. Rattan Singh there. Robin, darling, did the Ease with Money book arrive? Okay. All right. She's checking with UPS now. This is to see if they delivered it.
Yeah, because yours was funny. Your books shipped on the first 2 day, and they're still getting there.
I know. This, my book, The 7 Steps. This just arrived too. So.
Wow! Yeah, you have a big event. Don't you have an event there tomorrow for that?
Yeah, on the 9th. Is tomorrow the 9th?
Oh no, tomorrow's the 8th. The 9th.
Right. On the 8th, we have the Easing.
Tomorrow we're doing this launch, and then you get to do another launch the next day.
Exactly.
So show that cover again.
Yes.
Your book is saying, oh, it's the lights. Oh, there it goes.
7
Oh,
steps to flawless communication. I'm so excited. 8 languages. We're gonna get that into.
that baby has some potency. That baby is super excited.
Yeah.
It's like bouncing off the walls for you. Holy
I
moly,
know,
that book
I
is fun.
know.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. And
So Cass, one
what
thing,
would it take
and
for us to
Helen.
turn With Money into a bestseller too? So how's it getting better?
Helen is coming up next, and one question I've been asking, which seems super fun, is when you're sitting there, kind of just getting the energy of our listeners. What is it that you would share if there's like one thing, one tool, one extra concept that you would share? It doesn't have to be in the chapter, of course, it could be.
Yeah.
What's showing up for you, just to kind of like to kind of hands across the water to the people listening?
Yeah. Cool. Well, you know, in terms of the money, which is the topic of the book, money is energy. Money has a vibration. So if you are willing to get rid of anything that weighs down your vibration, then you can be vibrationally compatible with money and smell it and feel it and perceive it anywhere and everywhere it is. And so what would that take? So that's my invitation.
Yeah. Ooh, that was so nice. You're like a big bubbly glass of champagne.
I am. And you know what? I would like to, since we did this great class, I'd like to give a toast to Ease with Money and to you, pulling it off, girl, and to the success that it will have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, California is not that far from Colorado, just saying.
I know, and they both begin with C.
Let's get you.
So I'm definitely coming to see you.
I know. And then I'll come to Italy because I have some genetics. I'm sure I could find my family there if I went there.
I love you already, Erica. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Cass.
Thank you so much. Bye to you. Bye.
Helen, how are you? You ready?
Hi, Erica. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm here. I made it.
Gosh, how many countries can I put into one webinar? I think I have now officially expanded that, like, holy moly, because we have Cass from Italy. We had Russia earlier. Oh
my God.
We have Poland, Germany. Where else? Oh, Mexico. Oh my gosh.
How does it get any better than this?
I know. So Helen, Dr. Helen, nice to see you. Our book's coming out.
Nice to see you too. I'm so excited.
I know. Bettina was on with us earlier, so we got to play with her. So maybe just tell us a little bit about your chapter and just kind of like your gift, because I loved your chapter. It was really beautiful. It was really fun to read. Very easy to read. It was so easy to read. So, wow, I'm not kidding. Like, it seriously was like just flowed. So tell us a little bit about your chapter and having ease with money and maybe your journey, because it wasn't actually easy.
Right. It was kind of like...
It was actually not easy at all.
But now I have the tools to make it easy. It's actually going through hardship in Russia.
Yeah.
And kind of like fighting for what I believed in, fighting for actually just being and surviving at that time as a child. And then growing up and being here and starting doing some access consciousness or Akashic Records and all that journey kind of taught me a lot of tools that I wanted to share with the readers. So they can use them to create ease with money, ease with relationships, because the same tools can be applied to any area of their lives. And that's what my chapter is all about, to create more joy and ease in their lives. And even with people who have hard lives. They can see in this chapter that it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
That there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Nice.
That they can change their lives. They can create something different.
Mm-hmm.
Just by being who they are. It doesn't have to be, they don't have to change.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that.
Yeah.
Because we already have all the knowledge, all the wisdom, kind of like inside ourselves.
Okay.
The trick is to get to it. All those limitations that were put on us.
Wow, right?
Right. Because as a kid, if we think about our childhood, when we were little, we didn't have any limitations. We seriously could do anything.
You know, I have to apologize being the very last beautiful person and being on our beautiful book webinar that we're having. And I'm so grateful you could come. I'm going to actually kind of shift you into like that key thing, if you could share with our audience, because it's feeling like it's just about, we're about to close for the day. And the book is like so beautiful. Helen wrote a beautiful chapter, and she kind of takes you through her life as a medical doctor, and then everything that shifted to kind of your world is so different now. It's so expansive. Feels also, you know what else, Helen, I'm getting from you? Kind of a softness. Like there's more of a kindness than I think was there before. That's really fascinating. And just kind of share with us, kind of take our listeners into what's possible when you get beyond that I must energy.
Yeah, when you have that I must, I have to, all of that creates a lot of like fighting for your life, defending against other people, defending for your life, for your belief system. So you have to be that hardness, like you said.
Yeah.
And when you actually drop your barriers and stop defending, be in allowance of everything and everyone, it creates such a, I wouldn't say softness, but gentleness and kindness.
Yeah.
That
so nice.
Yeah, it's that loving kindness that everybody, every religion talks about. That when you don't have judgments, when you don't have the points of view of me being right and everybody wrong, it creates a world of just being present with what is. And the life of ease, joy, and glory that can be there no matter what life shows up. Even with the hardness of the life, even if the life is not as easy, if we look at that from a different perspective and asking questions instead of going into conclusion of, oh my God, this is so bad.
Yeah.
Asking question, how does it get any better than this? Or what else is possible there? What can I create here that I have not seen before? It creates that gentleness of being an allowance of everything and everyone that creates that receiving.
Yeah.
Where we can receive money, we can receive other people when we can actually be ourselves and not judge ourselves as well.
Oh, that's a perfect ending. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica. And thank you so much for all the contribution you've been with the book, with me,